Hey, Kurt with oldhalloween.com. We are going to watch not one, but two different live streaming auctions because for some reason, both auctions, both with great antique and vintage Halloween, are happening at the same time and they are live streaming online. So we're going to watch them real time for us. And of course, we're going to share the video with you. We're going to watch several of the pieces because they are phenomenal. So here we go. Let's check out both Bertoia and the John McInnis auction that also includes a whole bunch of great antique vintage Halloween. All right, so check this out. So on the left-hand side, I'll move it down a little bit. You can see we have the Bertoia auction. Got a few dozen pieces before we start getting Halloween. On the right-hand side, we have McInnis. We actually have a live stream from Bertoia on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have McInnis, and they are doing their countdown. I believe they may have a stream someplace, but I couldn't get access to it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually mute the folks over on Bertoia's side until we get to Halloween. And then if something really seems to be going crazy in terms of prices that are really just escalating, or we have a really kind of an interesting bidding war, then we'll turn the audio on. But for the time being, we'll just leave it like this, and that way we can see both pieces. Now, I'll come back on. We'll just restart our video or unpause our video whenever we get to the pieces moving in the McInnis over here. And then, of course, we'll do the same thing when we get to the Halloween sections of the massive Bertoia auction that's happening, again, all at the same time. And just in case, if you need your own kind of thing to do as a breather in between pieces, of course, let me just mention it's not an awful idea if you want to go over and visit oldhalloween.com, considering we do have a number of price guides for a number of the pieces in both of the auctions today. You can find it by going into oldhalloween.com and selecting resources and price guides, and the price guides are broken down by genre, and we have a number of the pieces that you're seeing today actually in our price guides, and the price guides are always free to you. Also, I'll just mention, if you don't like the way that we have our price guides organized, in the very near future we'll also have PDF downloads available for a very small fee. Some folks would rather have a PDF printed off or available on their computer, so we'll have that available also. All right, here we go. We have two auctions, and there are some phenomenal pieces. So just very, very quickly, if you're wondering, we are only on number 2 at the recording moment. I hit the button just now. Over here in Bertoia, we will be picking up the feed again. That is, I'll be recording again live when we get to number 42, because that's where we start the first tranche of antique Halloween, fantastic pieces. And I'm just interested. I don't think I can probably be a player, but I'm interested in seeing how well they do because of the quality of the pieces. And of course, even if you have questions about some things that might have been repaired or conserved, which I think is, those are incredibly important questions to ask, the sheer quality and quantity combined makes this just a phenomenal option. We're still obviously waiting over here on McInnis to really take off. They're still sitting on their first item, and we do have confirmation that they are there's movement on the floor, but we're still waiting to find out when they're going to move to piece 2. We have, I'm just scrolling here over here on the right hand side, we have at least 20. I'm still scrolling, getting close to 30, getting close to 40, getting close to, but not quite to 50. So there are 45-ish antique Halloween pieces in the McInnis auction. So I'm hoping you were able to catch it if you're watching this after it's over with, or I'm hoping that you're actually in it now as I'm watching it, because there are so many jack-o'-lanterns, There are also, though, a number of additional pieces that I find kind of interesting. There's also a parade lantern, and it's a parade lantern that has I have some questions about the outside of it, but it's a very interesting looking parade lantern. We'll see if during the auction they actually do show the imprint of the stamp, as it were, in the neck piece. Sometimes there was a stamp showing an early 1900s date from the Toledo Metalworks company. So we'll see how that goes. But it looks like we're getting some movement over here on Bertoia. So I'm going to watch, and I'll be back in just a moment as they get closer to that elusive number 42 lot number. So we are getting some movement over on the McInnis side. So we have moved over to, this is a great little vintage Halloween pumpkin tambo. I know some folks really like to focus on tambourines in the noisemaker subgenre, primarily I think because there is so much real estate, great lithos. I think that also means that it's a lot more to scratch, scuff up, to tear. And so when you find pieces that are in really good shape and have all that real estate for display, that folks are really excited about. That looks like that tambourine, the pumpkin face tambourine, sold for $200. I think that's a pretty good price. I've seen it already once, one other time this year, go for a few dollars more. So I think someone got a pretty good deal there. Now, this is a Halloween devil lantern. My understanding, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am, but that this could have been a West German construction. That doesn't mean that it's not vintage. It doesn't mean that some people don't consider it antique and scarce, difficult to find. It is all of those things, but it's going to be a slightly newer German construction. It's already 175, so doing pretty well. Personally, very interested in this piece, so we'll see how it does. I don't know that I just acquired one of these the other day. This is actually just a gorgeous German die cut of a black cat, and it's a stand-up. So those back two legs actually pop out so it can stand up. Here, I'm going to just hit it, and we'll see. It may or may not accept my bid. That's a phenomenal price if someone gets it for that. But I will say this, that the scarcity of this particular German die-cut black cat, arched back black cat, I'll get it right one of these minutes, can't be understated. These are very, very rare, very difficult to find, and we will just see how folks are sort of assessing or processing this German die-cut versus some of the other die-cuts that are out there. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to hold this. Really should sell for at least twice this, but I'm saving some powder, as they say, and that's because I just acquired one of these. But this one's in very good shape. Someone got a great deal. I mean, that's fantastic. They picked it up for $100. That is easily a $200 to $250 cat all day long. So someone's getting a steal. Perhaps the 371 folks or so who are watching the McInnis auction are also watching Bertoia, thinking, maybe I need to save some money for Bertoia. Who knows? But my guess is that you're most likely going to get, potentially a good deal if you're watching both of these at the same time. This is a fantastic little candy container. It's some folks might call this a broomed witch. It's really a broomed lady. She's not really a full witch motif, but she'd be a great crossover for Halloween, and a gorgeous little piece. And if you're into collecting them, this is probably a piece for you. Wow, I'm not, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I'm a little surprised that we went over 200, but maybe I shouldn't be fully surprised because these early candy containers are very hard to find. So that's exciting. That's very exciting. I think that speaks well or bodes well for what else happens today. Now we have a big long row from, this is lot 7 through lot 17. So the next 10 or 11 lots are all jack-o'-lanterns. We'll see how the jack-o'-lantern group, how they are doing these days in the post-Halloween frenzy. Everyone seems to be really interested in acquiring jack-o'-lanterns. You'll see the one that we just watched sell for $125 go for well over $225, $250 during the Halloween craze. At least on eBay you see that, and that's certainly interesting. These little German paper jack-o'-lanterns are really interesting, especially if they have outlines around eyes, nose, mouth. Some of them, of course, have darker. Some of them have lipstick, and of course those tend to speak to the rarity and scarcity. They just don't come around very often. And it sold for $200. That's a fantastic price on this little vintage Halloween pumpkin. Here's another Halloween pumpkin. I had the luxury of acquiring a couple of these. They weren't perfect, but a couple of these for, I think I got them for $50 each a couple of years ago. And so you never know. Sometimes these go for well over 200. Sometimes they tend to average, it seems, around 125 during the Halloween season. But they clearly can go for a lot less. If this one sells for 75, that would be a really good price. So someone here is cleaning up at McInnis. Hopefully it's you. Hopefully you're the one who's cleaning up and getting some good deals. Someone else came in. An absentee bid came in. So now we are at 100 on this piece. That's still a good price. 125 still a good price, but I think now we're at 150. So now we're pushing into prices that you can beat if you shop over the course of the year. Now it's at 200, so we have a competition going on. It looks like it's a floor bidder versus an online bidder. So we have some folks who are bidding. We're now at 250. Wow. This is an 8-inch across and 5.5-inch high or tall paper, a German paper, and even though it's in good shape, that's a higher price than I expect. It does say it does have splits. It also talks about the bottom being replaced, but perhaps folks are looking for just a fairly clean version. Given the replacement, I probably wouldn't be into it for that. But if it's a good fit for your collection, it makes a lot of sense to me. Now, I'm interested not just in the papers, but also the pulps. And here we've got a pulp piece. And wow, so maybe we're still dealing with the aftermath of Halloween to a degree. But that was a pretty good price for a pulp. Here are two papers. And the two papers are interesting. Anytime you get a pair, very, very interesting. We'll see how these do compared to 2 lots ago. Because 2 lots ago, I was surprised at that price for the size. These are only 3 inches in diameter. So these are smaller. Some folks do like the smaller for the sake of collecting. And I'll just scroll through the images here just so you can see. Quite nice, actually. And given that they are quite nice, I'm even seeing a little bit of a print here. $250 for 2 of them, $125 each seems like a good retail price for them. And if you're a collector and you want to double up or triple up, it's not a bad idea to try to do that in an auction where you can get multiples at a time. Or if you resell, especially if you're in a retail setting where maybe folks spend more, or you're kind of getting yourself ready for maybe future retail options, those might also be really helpful for you. This is another great German paper, and I'm just going to flip through here. The reason I say great is because it's a 2-sider, and I've got a bid on a 2-sider. I can't help it. There aren't that many 2-sider papers out there, and turns out it's fairly large, 5.5-inch tall, fairly large. Oh, I actually scored that one. Can't believe it. Large jack-o'-lantern. The reason why you do not find, I'll just repeat myself, you do not find the dual-sided all that often. So you might think that was high. I don't, because I never see those. I never get access to them. So yay me. I'm very, very excited about that. I didn't expect to even be able to touch that for under $500. Can you believe it? So if you're looking for deals, and you're watching a couple of different auctions, that might give you kind of a sense of how to make some decisions. Here are 2 additional small paper German 4-inch jack-o'-lanterns, and these seem to be an okay shape, and they sold for 120. What was it? 125. 125 for the pair. This is a larger pulp jack-o'-lantern. Wow, yeah, 225. I kind of expected it would easily jump up to 2. It jumped up to 225, and I'll just say I was incredibly lucky and scored a couple of these a few years ago, back when you could find them for under 100 each. I think for the near future, they'll always go well above 200 for even decent versions of them. This is an interesting lot, right? Because it has both a really nice German paper jack-o'-lantern with lipstick, so it's a little bit rare. It also has an entire box, the box I should say, of jack-o'-lantern candles, which has a great litho on it as well. And it says it has 4 candles. I didn't even flip through the pictures to see that, but they have a picture of the candles. There's the bottom of the jack. Nope, they don't have a picture of the candles. They just say that there are 4 candles inside. And I'm scrolling back. Okay, it looks like the edge of this has maybe been burned or stained or some such, but still a great litho. I have the orange boxes like many of you. I don't have this jack-o'-lantern candles box, and so if you're a collector of Halloween lithos, this may be the box for you. $250 is still not an awful price just for the jack-o'-lantern alone, given the scarcity of those paper jacks with the lipstick. I call them that. There might be another name. I'm still looking to see if there's any. I don't think there's a codified name for that process of putting lipstick around the lips or just outlining the eyes, nose, and mouth, but the lipstick ones tend to bring a premium, so pay attention to that. Here are 2 2.5-inch high West German jack-o'-lanterns. It says West Germany, so you know that these are more like mid-century, because this is clearly an early Cold War construction. But I will say that some folks only like to collect the really small jacks, and so this may very well be an option for you. I'm still aghast. I cannot believe that I was able to land the one jack, the dual-sided paper German jack-o'-lantern. Someone digitally slapped me. I just can't believe I did that. But I will say I've not seen that particular one. I have to imagine if there are others that are German and dual face or dual-sided and have additional features, that those have to be incredibly rare. But a dual-sided German is rare enough. So I am beyond. I'm over the stars, over the moon, over the stars, over the moon, I think. But I'm super jazzed. These are great, by the way. This is a pair. One is a compo, one is a later construction. But I will say that this compo piece, even though it has some staining, is by itself worth $300. And so if you're here, I know it has some conservation, I should say some preservation work done to it. I'm just trying to recall. I think the preservation work was to reglue or to touch up the skirting for the collar, the leaf color, as it were. But fantastic option. And given the fact that it's over $325, I think somebody out there knew that that was a good deal. Over on the Bertoia side, it looks like we're still at lot 22. We have to get to lot 42 before we hit the heart of the first tranche of early Halloween. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come back here in just a couple of minutes once we get down to the parade lantern in a few additional lots, and we will see how we're doing at both McInnis and also at Bertoia at that point. Hey, I thought I would just quickly pop in and say we are nearing an interesting looking Halloween pumpkin for 2 reasons. As you mentioned, or as I mentioned a second ago, anytime we have a jack-o'-lantern that has any kind of outlining lips or otherwise, there's usually a premium put on that. And the one that's up right now is currently opened at $50. That is a phenomenal price for a lipstick, what I'll call a lipstick jack-o'-lantern. We'll see if it doesn't sell. It does have some condition issues down below. It looks like an absentee bid is going to take it for $50 unless a floor bidder pops up. And that's going to be a great, in my estimation, a pretty good price, primarily because of the lipstick. But I will tell you the one coming up is the one I wanted to call your attention to, because it also has the lipstick feature, making it also a very interesting jack-o'-lantern. Oh, actually, it looks like we bumped up to 100 on the present, 110 on the present. Someone's on the floor and bumped it $10 bucks, $20 to 120. We'll see if that stands. But the next one up is a large vintage Halloween pumpkin, and it has the lipstick. Now, it also has some odd ears. Look at this. And so I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know those ears, and that doesn't mean anything, because there have been lots of things I've never seen before. Like many of us, even those who have collected many decades longer than I have, there are some things that we haven't seen before, and largely it's because, especially with early jack-o'-lanterns and early Halloween, that there were a lot of very localized makers in Germany and Czechoslovakia and places, and they would make small adjustments to basic forms. In this instance, we have a jack-o'-lantern, and in my estimation, $225 is still a great price, even with the added bottom, because of the funky little ears. It looks like someone made this and then just kind of gave it ears on their own. It wasn't part of the original form, but the lipstick painting is what makes this a very good feature. Oh, some folks are thinking maybe those ears kind of add to it. So you have a furrowed brow painted in, you've got the outlined nose, you've got the lipsticked mouth, and you've got these little pinched ears. Wow, so it's going for 400, 425. All right, so we've got some competing bids between a floor bidder and someone online who also likes those pinched ears. So I guess I wasn't completely wrong. I thought there might be some interest in this piece because of the unusual ears. Oftentimes with these Germans, you would actually have cut out ears, a piece of hard paper or cardboard cut out for the ears, but these are pinched. So these are a little bit unusual. Painted furrowed brow, lipsticked mouth. It's currently at 500. We'll see how high it goes. And then in two additional lots, we're going to get to that parade lantern and see how it does. So our ears went for 500. Now this is a great little collection. Of course, the last 2 years we've seen a bunch of these hats with great imagery, I might add, come to the market. So we've had a number of those that look just like this one. People love this. I do too. Love this particular imagery. It's got a devil on one side of the cauldron, a witch on the other. On the bottom, a Joel thing, a devil killing a Joel thing, I guess, some cats. I've seen stacks of these come to the into the market. So I don't know if they were flooded from someone finding a big stash or whatever, but they're still a really, really attractive piece. All right, here we go. So this is our parade lantern. This is the first one that we're going to watch today, and we'll see how it does. I'm going to probably get a screen grab, and along with the other parade lanterns that are happening today, and that way we can get kind of just a real quick litmus test of kind of where we stand with value on parade lanterns. The thing that strikes me as different is all of the pinching around the edges here. And I'm just trying to recall, I'd have to go back and spend some time looking at trustworthy tins, but I'm not used to seeing quite as much pinching. And so when I see that pinching that looks like newer pressing, I always kind of pause. That doesn't mean that this wasn't an original. It probably was. But it sold for $3,000. It sold for $3,000. All right, so I'm going to probably call it good on McInnis for the day. Of course, there are still, wow, we're at 27. There are still 20 plus lots to go. I'm getting ready to move over to Bertoia, although I'm just looking down here at the rest of the list. There are a few additional pieces. We'll see. I may pop up McInnis. I may not, but I want to just take one additional second and remind you, my name is Kurt with oldhalloween.com. Don't forget, do check us out. We have new content every single day on oldhalloween.com. If you like vintage Halloween, if you like antique Halloween, if you like old Halloween, oldhalloween.com is the place for you. And also don't forget, in addition to we bookmark that content, we also have additional resources. We have catalogs that are free for you to peruse, old catalogs, a few new catalogs. We also have price guides, and so you'll definitely want to check us out. But I'm going to just take a break for a minute. I'm going to grab another coffee, and then I'm going to get myself ready for what looks like about 10 lots from now. We're going to start the heart. I take that back. 5 lots from now, we're going to start the heart of the order in the first tranche of antique Halloween pieces in Bertoia. And we're going to start up with witches. And so we're going to see some high-flying prices probably in the Bertoia auction. So if you're already watching Bertoia, good luck. If you're not, make sure you catch Bertoia next time around whenever they have this much old Halloween. But also let me say, if you haven't checked out the McInnis, check out the realized prices and also watch them for the future when they have more old Halloween, because like you, I was surprised to see this much, especially after Halloween, and they really did it up. They did a great job with their lots. And that's why I'm going to probably continue to watch them over on the side screen as I'm also watching what's happening on Bertoia. Again, Kurt for oldhalloween.com. Thanks for watching.